The biggest sin in photography is to grab a camera, especially if it's not your camera, and then you start shooting in it, and then you realize that all the settings in this camera is wrong. This episode is dedicated to all the go-to settings that you have to do when you grab hold of a camera. Number one, your exposure mode. I use manual predominantly a lot, so I've got to make sure that it's on M. If you are an aperture priority user or shutter priority user, that's the knob you want to look at first. That's number one. Number two, your focusing mode. I use autofocus single a lot because I shoot portrait a lot, and sometimes I even do street photography. My subjects don't move that much, so I've got to make sure that my focusing mode is AFS. If you're a Canon user, that's called one shot. That focusing mode. Another part of it is the focusing area here. So you got to make sure that you choose the corresponding right one. So in this case, it's autofocus single for me and single area. That's the second thing you want to make sure before you start taking a shot. Third thing, your white balance. If you're on auto, got to make sure that your white balance is set. I am a Kelvin user, so I've got to make sure that I set it to 5000 all the time. And talking about the white balance, you want to check out this part in your camera. It's called the color filter. Color filter is something that you add on a color apart from just blue or yellow. That's handled by the Kelvin. Always go in there and make sure that in my case, it's right smack at 0. ABGM shift. You do not want to put too much of color accidentally to the camera. So 0 is fine here. So A0GM is 0. Done. The next thing, file size. Ouch. You do not want to accidentally take a shot and then the file size ends up being wrong. So you want to go, in my case I'm using JPEG, so there is a file size to contend with. So I'm going with fine, which is my JPEG resolution, and a file size that's large. Done as well. Now, if you are a Nikon user, there's one thing that I must forewarn you. Even though you're on manual exposure, make sure that your exposure compensation here, this button here, is showing 0.0. It's like your weighing machine. Before you step on your weighing machine, make sure that scale is always 0.0. Don't be like my wife. She sets it to -1 kilo. She steps on it, she's always losing weight every morning.
Oi!
She's watching this, I'm gonna die. The guy agrees. These are the go-to settings before you grab a camera. Oh, one more sin. Make sure that your exposure meter mode is on average. You do not want to, on other modes like spot meter or center weighted. If you're doing landscape a lot, you got to make sure of that. That kill you a lot if you're using flash here. So those are the go-to settings before you take a shot. Oh hey, before I go, one last part. Modern cameras have got this picture called the picture control. What it does is allow you to actually do some sort of post-processing to your picture before it's saved to the card. Set it to standard and be aware of this. Make sure you know you're on Vivid. Sometimes the guy before this might be setting this to monochrome and you start taking pictures and realize that, ouch, you're on monochrome. If you like what you learn in our YouTube channel, head on to our website. There's beyond.photos. Write to us too if you have certain topics that you want to learn about. Like I said, go to our website, subscribe to our e-learning topics. We need all the support that we can get. At the same time, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell button. I'll see you in the next episode.